for watching HackTheFile. I'm Michael Lopez, and on today's episode, we're going to be looking at um, architecture. Enjoy. All right, we're back. We are back. We are back. We are back. Um, Today, I'm going to go over architecture. Okay, cybersecurity architecture, and if you guys don't know what that is, Google it. um, Basically, if you're into cybersecurity and you're a cybersecurity enthusiast, um, you probably know about pen testing in cybersecurity. You probably know about digital forensics, defensive side, offensive side. You probably know about malware analysis and Kali Linux and all that. But um, another side of cybersecurity is practical cybersecurity architecture. Now I'm gonna open this book here. This is we're gonna go over two books today, okay? That I think are great books, and um, they really go over what it is to think of as a architect. Okay, I'm not talking about a building architect, but they use that example through the whole book, right? Through both of these books. Because you're basically you're building a cybersecurity architecture. You're basically building the bones and the frames and where everything goes and where the rooms are of a house, but it's cybersecurity. So why is this important? So if you're a pen tester or you're a hacker, all facets of cybersecurity knowledge I think is going to be a benefit for you. Um, for one, if you're pen testing for a company or hacking, white hat hacking or whatever, ethical hacking for a company, and you know how they think, right? And let's say this company does have a network security architect there, and let's say for example, they're going to have um, zero trust, right? Architecture. Um, it's going to be to your benefit because you know it's going to be hard to hack it, right? You're going to understand um, how the layout is of their network based off of and where their security measures are going to be somewhat right because of the architecture. Now, another reason to read these books, okay, and these are reads. These aren't technical. You're not gonna. I mean, you can make them technical, like so. So what I do, what I have done, is I have used these books and I have um, made a mock-up business. Okay, but in my example is I have architects on the payroll in my business, right? So let's just say um, I am making a mock-up example of my business, and but in my business I have architects for hire. Okay, so with that model, what I do is I go through this book and I write down a template for my architects to follow, so they can uh, set up some kind of basic architecture for a client, and then let them run with it, right? Um, and we're gonna go through all that, right? Real quick. I'm gonna go through like the chapters and stuff, and I'm gonna break this book down. I'm not going through this book. This is not gonna be a series or anything. This is just we're talking about cybersecurity architecture and how beneficial it could be to buy these books and read them or have them read to you. So all I do is I get in here into the chapter, and I go to tools and I start text to speech. And in this application, I mean, I'm sure you can find some other applications, right? In this application, the Kindle PC application, it sounds like a robot, and I'll show you here in a second. But I don't care because I'll listen to it and then I'll follow along in the chapters, and then when I don't like a page or something, I'll skip it. But anyways, going back to what you can do with this book, that'll be beneficial towards you. This is one of my school books, right? And so what they have us do they have us make a mock-up of a company, and then we do its so we do its architecture from start to finish, right? But you can do whatever you want to do, whatever your imagination, you know, allows you. So you can go through this book and you can do the same thing. You can say, I'm going to follow this book to the T, and then I'm going to do a mock-up, architecture for a company as well. I mean, it's really fun. Um, I think a lot of people don't realize how fun being an architect is. A cybersecurity architect. I mean, it's very, very, very fun. So, the stuff you learn in books like this is that is so fun because you can use your imagination, you can pretend, whatever. And you can do that with a lot of books, like framework books and all that. But you're not doing anything technical, right? You're gonna make network diagrams, right? And then you're gonna research what tools or what free apps they have to do it in. And there's a bunch of them, right? I found one. And then you're gonna understand how cybersecurity sets up their defenses is all it is, and where they're putting their devices. Are they putting it behind firewalls? Are they putting it behind more firewalls at every device? Or less firewalls? Are they using traditional defense uh, firewall parameters or something like that? So I mean, there's technical words and I just can't think of them right now. But anyways, are they using PDPs, PEPs? So, and these are things that you kind of you don't. So I can guarantee you, if somebody is getting into cybersecurity and they don't have any IT experience, let's say they've never set up firewalls, they've never set up um, anything like that, right? They just know of it. Like, they know what a firewall is, they know what IDS is, they know what all these things are, seeing tools and everything, but you don't know how they practically um, and that's why it says practical, right? Practical cybersecurity architecture. You don't know how they practically interact with each other to protect the system, right? You just assume, well, it's a firewall. Okay, well, what does that mean? You put in, you filter some IPs or whatever, and that's true. But how does it authenticate, and how does it authorize, and how does it do all that though with the device, in conjunction with the device, right? And so what this does is it goes over all that, and it lets you understand, I would say, from the highest level, right? You're an eagle soaring over all this, and you're looking at all the cybersecurity and how it works and all that, and you're looking at the architecture of it, and you're admiring its beauty, and you understand how it works at a high level. And then it goes into lower levels, right? So it goes into lower levels. It goes from the high level, and then it goes into a high level of a certain area, and it shows you, okay, well, this is how they communicate. They have a PDP, which is a perimeter. Crap, I can't remember. Perimeter something 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 or other. Anyways, and then you got the PEPs that that authorize it, that okay it. So you have the PDPs that say, okay, um, this is what we're trying to do, or let's say it's a user. I'm trying to access this file, right? This is just one area like access, data access, or access authentication. And hey, I'm trying to access this file. I'm this user, and it sends it to the PEP. I mean to the PDP. PDP sends it to the PEP, and they either authorize it or they don't, and it's based off of rules and stuff, right? That you write and you put in firewalls and all that stuff. Um, it just goes into how it functions and how it works, which is great. Lets you kind of understand how everything works on a higher level. So we'll go through this real quick, and this is a practical cybersecurity architecture, a guide to creating and implementing robust designs for cybersecurity architects, right? And it's who wrote it? I mean, we always go to the we always give credit to the authors, right? About the authors, Eddie Moyle is currently a partner with Security Curve in his 20 years information security. ED has held numerous positions, including director of thought leadership, and I like how they use that. Director of thought leadership, thought leaders. He's a thought leader. It's another word they use in the industry. And research for ISACA, senior security strategist. Vice President and Information Security Officer for Merrill Lynch Investment Managers. He is co-author of Cryptographic Libraries for Developers. Diane Kelley, security career spans over 30 years. She is co-founder of the CTO of Security Curve and donates much of her time to volunteer work in the cybersecurity community. All right, so that's him. We're just going to run through these chapters. Security architecture, right? And gives you an overview of what security architecture is. What is security architecture? Core solution building. Building architect scope and requirements. So this is where I say it starts with the scope, right? And this is what's so cool about this. If you read this, it's going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to get the scope of of an architecture before you start working on it, right? And the importance of this is if you don't have a scope, you don't know what direction or what vision you can have, right? And this is gold right here. Reading this is gold. This is where you start. You start with your scope. You need to know. Look, and this goes over understanding scope. That's the most important, because if you don't understand what scope is, it's good to understand it and know what it is, right? Setting architectural scope, scope enterprise, scope application security, the process of setting scope. And this is a long chapter, right? Understanding scope, setting our scope. And this is a whole chapter 2 is all about scope, because the scope is very, very important. If you don't have the right scope for what you're doing, like if you don't know what direction you're supposed to be taking, you don't know what you're supposed to be developing, where to stay away from, what strengths you have, and all that stuff, then you shouldn't start it, right? You got to have a scope first. If you don't know what scope is, it ain't a mouthwash. But anyways, no. So you gotta Google that or read this book. Okay, it's basically what you need first. It's your vision, where you're trying to accomplish all that stuff, right? But this goes into really good detail, and it won't steer you wrong, right? Okay. Uh, Now it's talking about getting the toolbox, planning tools, building blocks, and then you have building an architecture, developing enterprise blueprints, the process, the vision. The vision is cool. Creating the program, and I'm just going over the headers, right? Because developing your high level approach. We're not going to go into it, but there's a lot of detail in each of these, right? Building and architecture, application blueprints. So this is all high level architecture stuff. This is not, this helps you at the highest level set up your architecture. And there's different views in here, right? So if you go through here, it tells you to go through and look at the different views of architecture, right? You're looking at it from the enterprise security architecture, application security, defining, scope boundaries. So there's different views. There's the network view. There's all kinds of different views. You're looking at it from different views on how to set it up. So it's a good book. Like I said, I'm using it in my school right now, and I liked it. We're almost through it already, and I liked it. It's a good book. Look, this is another book, Cybersecurity Attacks Defense. Anyways, so we'll go back, and then we'll go to. So this shows you at a high level about security architecture, and then you come to a book like this, Zero Trust Networks. You go over here to like Zero Trust Networks, building secure systems in an untrusted network, by Razi, Rais, Christina, Morillo, Yvonne Gilman, and Doug Barth. So this one goes into ZTA, Zero Trust Architecture. Now this will go deeper into setting up a Zero Trust architecture. Now this goes into the ins and outs and outs and ins of what Zero Trust is, and it's not a new concept, but it's an updated concept of old way to defend, which is the traditional defense parameter way of setting up an architecture and security for your network, right? And this is just a modern way that it's a different way. It's based off of don't trust. So its philosophy is you don't trust nothing. Um, you don't trust no one until you authenticate, right? So in other words, the old way was you set up a firewall or you set up your huge firewall that protects your gateway and that protects all your devices behind it. Okay, and everything behind it is trusted because it's in the network, right? So once anything your all your devices behind your firewall is trusted because it's in your network. That's it, right? That's the traditional way. ZTA is more like um, nothing is ever trusted until it's authenticated, until it's proven to be trustworthy. So even things in your network, we're not going to trust them. We're gonna authenticate, and we're gonna find out if we can trust them, right? And then he goes, that's just the basic understanding of it. And they're just different architectures that these companies or anybody is using to defend their system, right? And this book is really cool too because this is a hot topic right now. This ZTA. I mean, a lot of people are incorporating more ZTA into their uh, zero trust architecture, into their architecture, to their existing architecture. So if they have a traditional architecture or something like that, or let's say they have a hybrid or they have something that's custom, you can pull ideas from the zero trust architecture and implement it if you can, right? And there's nothing's perfect, right? There's benefits, there's drawbacks. I mean, I mean, but these are the things you're gonna learn in this kind of book, right? And so I'm about halfway through this book, and I really like it. I mean, you're gonna learn a lot about how, like this right here, right? Importance of PKI in zero trust. Now, if you've got all your certifications, Security Plus, you probably know what PKI is, but This is going to go deeper in how it uses PKI in zero trust, right? And it goes through how it technically uses it, right? And it goes through word by word, detail by detail on how they use it, right? And then they incorporate least privilege, which a lot of companies use. I mean, that's what you're supposed to, right? Um, then we got 10 more minutes. This is going to be a little 30-minute video. This is just going to be a book review on architecture and how important I think it is to learn. Um, Also, architects make big money. They're engineers. So if you, let's say, have 10 years experience in something, in IT or STEM or something, and you take classes in this and zero trust architecture, and you could be a security engineer if they hire you and they want to, your stuff, and you go in there and you know your stuff, and you know what PDP stands for, and PDP stands for. Because I do, but my brain it's too early right now. My brain is not working. Um, Anyways, so um, yeah, they make good money. They're engineers. They're going in and they're setting up the architecture, and they're working with other architects, and they're probably just working on their own little area, not doing the whole thing by themselves, but they could be. Who knows? What if you're in a small company? But you're usually going to be working with other architects, and you're going to be going into detail, probably at a high level, and then working with the people at the lower levels to implement it. Like, hey, this is where I want. This is what I came up with. We want to be authenticating here. We want to be at these access points with these users and stuff like that, right? We want to make sure that no matter what uh, it matter what user is using, that we want to authenticate or whatever, right? Um, um, we want to author, and then we want to authorize, right? So authenticate is you're saying, okay, so this is who he is, this user is who they say they are, and then okay, yeah, we want to authorize it. We want to, you can't, if you get those, you got to remember those two work in conjunction, right? Because you want to make sure, hey, this is the right person, or this is the right process, or this, whatever, and then you want to authorize it, and you want to say, okay, yeah, you're good, you're golden. Here, we'll go on through, and there's a lot of ways to visualize all this, right? You can visualize the castle structure, where you're in a castle. The king has a castle, or the king and queen have a castle. They got their villagers and their markets and all that inside the castle, and they got that big giant door, and they got the archers and they got the moat and all that. Those are different levels of firewall. And so, does that kingdom trust everybody inside the castle once you get in past all that stuff? They probably do, but they probably have got guards walking around making sure nobody snuck in and messing around. So those are the other stuff, the other fail safes for security, right? In your architecture, zero trust is like not. I look at it like Nazi. Hey, let me see your papers, right? You go to the market right when you walk through the door. If you get through all the firewalls and stuff, somebody comes and says, "Let me see your papers. You're supposed to be here." You show them your papers. They go, "Okay." Then you go to the marketplace, and the marketplace guy goes, "Hey, well, let me see your papers." And you're like, "I just want to buy some like dried duck." You see all in the old movies. They got like dried ducks or dried meats hanging. You could buy, like in the Roman movies and stuff when they get into the marketplace. And then the guy at the market's like, yeah, let me see your ID, or let me see your papers. And you're like, oh, here they go. And then he goes, all right, what kind of duck you want? And then you get your duck, and then you walk into another area, to another market, and he says, hey, let me see your papers again. So that would be like zero. I would say that would be like zero trust architecture. You're getting checked at every, and you're getting authorized, you're getting authenticated, and then by hey, let me see your papers. All right, you are who you say you are, and then you're getting authorized at every checkpoint too, and that's where the PDP and the PEPs come in, right? So your PDP is your, I still okay, just I can never remember, but it's the uh, it's a policy. Let me just Google it, man. So instead of looking stupid, and I'm gonna feel stupid too when I Google it. I'm taking my own advice. It just eludes me. And you know what? I don't care because I mean I'm just writing a bunch of papers on this, and then my brain I just can't pull up in my mind. Oh no, that's not what it is. It's a PEP, PPS, and P. All right. So PEPs, yeah, it's policy enforcement points. So it enforces at each point, and then your PDP is policy decision points. That's how stupid I am. Ah. Anyways, yeah, it's your okay. So your policy decision point is like the point where, so at that point it would be, hey, here when they get to this market, this is a point where we're gonna make a decision, and then basically authenticate based off of authentication. Hey, did this, it checked out? This user is who say they are, or this guy is. They're gonna make a decision, and then they're gonna send it to the PEPs, and they're gonna enforce it and say, yeah, they're gonna authenticate it. So it all goes back down to, I mean, authenticate it, uh, authorize it. All goes down to authentication authorization, right? All right. Anyways, so yeah, good thing I worked through that. All right. So, anyways, that's in a nutshell what these books are about. And so you gotta know this stuff, right? Because this stuff puts you at a higher level of thinking, right? Of cybersecurity as well. And it helps you see what how the network is designed and how it actually works. So let's say you are hacking, you are pen testing. Somebody's got some great ZTA architecture set up. It's going to be harder for you, right? Because you're going to have to find the user that, from an attacker's point, you're going to have to find the user that has that privileges, that can get into places, and that's normal, right? But then you're gonna have to switch users, because not one user has access to everything. I'm sure of it in ZTA, right? You're gonna have to switch users. You're gonna have to switch applications, because there's different rules for different applications, different users. And and the least privilege is kind of like that, but this goes deeper. So let's say you take advantage of an application to use its privileges, right? It's called escalation, and I can't remember the exact term or the exact tech it is, but if you Google it, you're using that application's privilege. I think it's a SAM or S attack or something like that. Anyways, and you're attacking it. You're using that to gain access to higher level privileges stuff. But they're in ZTA. They're gonna put in more fail safes for that, right? So it's gonna be harder, but it's good to understand that when stuff is not working, right? When you're attacking the system or you're defending it. And then, so you got to look at this from both points of view. I'm on that philosophy where I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm still learning about cybersecurity. But I'm finding I'm having like what do you know? I'm having eye opening revelations. I would say. Nah, I don't want to go that far. Like eye opening revelations. I can't think of the word, but I'm having breakthrough, or I'm starting to see it at different angles. So example is um, what are we learning? What is cybersecurity? Okay. Now a lot of people, they go deep into it, like, and go, oh well, it's this and it's that and it's architecture. Like even this, it's all this architecture and it's all this and that. Learn this, but the reality is, all cybersecurity is you're protecting your network or your system or your data or your facility or anything from hackers. That's it. From people that would do it wrong. That's it. That's where it boils down to. So, to me, so far, I mean, it might change, it might grow, and I might have more knowledge and go, But for now, to me, I see it like you have to always incorporate the hacker point of view. You can't get lost in all this stuff, right? So um, because you're trying to prevent hackers. So like I just said, oh yeah, it's going to be harder for hackers with the ZTA uh, architecture. But is it? But is it really? Because if you, like I just said, all that stuff, the hacker, he's going to be trying to escalate his privileges through each device anyways, through each user. And the human error is, it's going to be, it probably is going to be take longer, but he's still going to get through if he can compromise more and more users, right? or or if he can compromise more and more applications with different privileges. I don't know. I've never hacked like that. So I don't know, but I'm just saying, theoretically, I'm thinking about it. I mean, it's all, you have to always look at it from the hacker's point of view. Or that's what all this is for, right? That's what all this is for. Digital forensic. Well, digital forensics, it's different, but I mean, it's used for all kinds of different stuff. But all all this areas of cybersecurity are to prevent hackers from hacking your network, right? And knowing all this stuff is good too, because you need to understand, even as a hacker, you need to understand how these, what if you're looking through a system and you find out, hey, you find some documents that say, well, yeah, we're using ZTA architecture. And then you literally have a diagram of their network. So what's funny is that I don't understand how that's not um I don't understand how that's not really, like, you need clearance to look at a company's, especially a government company's network architecture. Or it's stupid. And whoever thought of that is, I would say, a moron. Because if you're allowing somebody to look at your network architecture, then you're allowing them. I'm talking about the architecture in detail. You're allowing them to see firewall points. You're allowing them to see policies and procedures. You're allowing them to see the policy decision points, the policy the policy enforcement points. There you go. See how I got that? See, I got that PDP and PEP off, and I just and see how clear it is to me in my mind. Anyways, you're allowing people to see all this, and it's it's better for a hacker. If a hacker knew that, I mean, it's better for him. He's gonna say, well, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna get through here. Well, first I have to get through here, and then I'm gonna get checked here. I'm gonna go, so anywhere he's going in the network, he knows what he has to bypass. He knows what exploit. He knows what exploits he could probably use. He knows where he's gonna have to scan and be careful when he's scanning for exploits because he knows that there's a firewall there or there's tools there that it's going to be checking. So it's kind of like I would say like a little leapfrog for a hacker to know all that. But but a lot of even government facilities, they don't you don't need to have high clearance to look at their network infrastructure, their architecture, which I think is stupid. But anyways, it's fine. Here soon, that's probably going to change. But I mean, that's where I see the importance of all this, right? It's good to understand this, and it's good to understand how it works. It helps you on your smaller level too. It helps you understand how your components or your devices are communicating with each other to enforce the CIA triad, right? If you don't know what that is, you should Google it. Um, Anyways, and how to enforce policies and procedures, okay, and how to enforce compliance, right? So you hear all those big words and zinger words, but you don't really understand how it's doing it, right? And then so these books let you know how it's doing it from a higher level, right? And then I think this book right here goes into a lower level, a little bit of lower level too, right? Because you're building the security. So this one helps you build the zero trust network at the component level, right, or at your device level. So this book with this practical cybersecurity architecture, I think is great. It goes together. It goes together swimmingly, and allows you to see stuff from a really high level to implementation level on the other book. So it's awesome. It's awesome, and you can't go wrong knowing more on how this works, right? These guys make big money, man. If you can read this and let's say you're good at it, right? And you're like, I'm really good at this. Do it. Make some big money. Nobody's gonna stop you, okay, but yourself, right? If he could do it, you could do it too. That video. Anyways, all right. So I hope you learned something. This is just going over these reviews, and we talked about architecture for a little bit. I'm in love with the architecture. I love it. Like, I'm not lying. I love practical cybersecurity architecture, zero trust networks. I love the higher level looking at it. And to tell you the truth, if I wasn't teaching or whatever, I would so much love to be an architect, a cybersecurity architect. And they make, like I said, they make a ton of money, no matter where you're at. So it's definitely a field to look into, right? And even if you are starting out, and you want to join a policies and procedures team or something like that, or something like that, frameworks, then it's still good to know this. I mean, but then you're gonna want to get into books like you know other books that go around policies and procedures and frameworks and stuff, and then I'll show you those books in the future. So because I'm taking a bunch of classes in that too, and but I haven't bought the books yet because they're expensive. But yeah, so think about it, and put some comments on there if you have any comments about it. And like I said, this is a great field to get into if you don't, especially if you don't want to get too much into technical. Now I'm sure these architects in the real world, when they're working, have to have some kind of technical knowledge, I'm sure. but I'm pretty sure not too much. I'm pretty sure they probably just go down, they talk to the lower levels and say, hey, we need to implement this. And then the IT goes in and implements it for them, right? Because the IT knows what they're doing. IT is laying out firewalls and policies and procedures and stuff like that on the programming level as well. So they're going into firewall settings or seam tools, and they're adding their scripts that control policies and procedures. If this, then that type of stuff, right? And that's on the granular level. That's the lowest, right? That's you're understanding how they actually are enforcing these, and they're using code sometimes, right? For policies and procedures or something. And so if you don't, I'm sure the architects don't get paid to go and implement it too. I mean, they might if they're getting paid a ton of money. I don't know. I've never been one, an architect, engineer, or cybersecurity engineer, architect. But I'm sure they bring it all together at a higher level, and they have the IT or whoever implement it or discuss it or something. So this might be a higher level, but it's still, you can get probably an entry level position if you know your stuff, right? So it's all gravy, baby. You got all kinds of areas of cybersecurity, and that's what we're going over today. Going over these books. Um, I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna go over. Well, I've been doing that, but I don't think I've ever touched architecture. Um, there's so many levels of cybersecurity. It's awesome. It's got something for everybody, and that's just another tidbit of information for anybody that's wanting to get into cybersecurity and wants to, what side should I get into? That's definitely a possibility. One side right here. Now you might have, like I said, have to start at policies and procedures and stuff and frameworks and implementing policies and procedures and frameworks and stuff like that. You might have to start there and then work your way up to an architect. Um, after some years, but I don't know. You know, you might be able to get into an entry level junior architect position. I'm sure they have them. Look them up. But like I said, am in love with the architecture side. It's awesome, even though I can't remember what PPs and PDPs mean. PDPs are. Just kidding. But anyways, it all came to me. Um, yeah, I love cybersecurity. So if you love it too, keep watching, and we'll go over more and more stuff about cybersecurity, more and more areas, tools, and everything. All right, that's HackTheFile, and I need you to have fun today. See you later.